This is Charlie Parsons for the Stomping Ground, powered by Wow Hydrate and available on DAZN. Mr. Ben Shalom, how are we, sir?
Very well. You're catching me at a good time.
Why?
Worn out.
Yeah, worn out.
From
You've done a lot of media.
So, yeah, I'm all yours.
Bit Eddie Hearn style, but I like the Carhartt jumper.
Why are you saying it? Don't
They are. Oh, nice. Well, I'm allowed to. That's a bit me though. Now I'm allowed to compliment what someone's wearing. It's nice. Not interested. No, just business. How's life been?
Very good. It's been busy, you know, because the first... Let me get rid of this call. The first 6 months... Sorry. The first 6 months of the year, obviously, we weren't doing much or supporting Riyadh season. So everything was domestic, and we put on a lot of shows. And then it's just been a whirlwind in terms of the fights being made that we've been able to make recently. The Martin Bakoli fight, the Tyler Denny fight, the Josh Buatsi fight, the 4 fights on October 12th, the rearranging the schedule. Been chaotic, but obviously really good. And so, yeah, good. Everything seems to be calming down now. It's great to see the fighters coming through, new fighters headlining and things like that. So it's a good time.
My first question, and a bit of an interesting one, how has the industry changed? Your perception of it, the way a day works in the life of yourself, since you first came in with Ultimate Boxer as such, and then when you initially got the Sky contract?
How's it changed?
Yeah. So let's go firstly to Ultimate Boxer days.
First, when you're starting, you're just trying to make ends meet, as you would start any business. It was difficult, even just getting anything done, licenses, people knowing who you are and being able to put on shows. At the time it was Sky and Eddie, and that was really it. And I'm no disrespect to Frank whatsoever. There was Box Nation, and then BT, and it was just boxing wasn't on 3 major broadcasters like this, where it's, I think, growing all the time. And so, yes, the transition has changed. The broadcasting, when we first got the Sky deal, obviously everything's about the broadcaster, and then Riyadh season comes along, and there's a completely new dynamic. So I think it's a real adjustment phase for everyone as a business and as a promoter, as to how to manage it, how to handle it, how to engage with it, but really positive in the sense that as a fan and anyone involved in the sport right now, it's absolutely incredible, and I don't think anyone could have seen it coming.
I don't think anyone doubted it when the Saudis said that they were willing to work with every promoter in the game. We saw them go over to the States and do just that, and we see them doing just that in the UK. I suppose recent involvement for yourself, enjoying sort of the start of this relationship for yourself, His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh, the GEA, Seller, all of the people involved?
Yeah, it's... Look, I think sometimes people read too much into it. Ultimately, we didn't have Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua. So they were the main drivers, especially Fury at the start. So naturally, that takes time. But yeah, Spencer Brown has been brilliant because he sort of sits and doesn't really give a shit about politics, and just wants to get the best fights on and help make the best fights and help create the best fights. So he's been great. And obviously Riyadh season just don't care. It's so refreshing to have someone who can't be bought, who doesn't care, and just couldn't give a shit about the nonsense. They just don't give a... If they like a fighter, or they see a fight, or they see this can do big numbers, or this, then it happens, and that's why the fans are enjoying it so much. I don't think they care whether everyone's best mates or not. The fact is, the fights get made and everyone's working together, and it's courtesy of Riyadh season, and amazing.
I suppose firstly, before we talk about your fighters on the undercard of Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois, it is a mega fight, 96,000 people, which will be a record attendance at Wembley Stadium, which sort of says it all about the Saudi ambition in the sport of boxing. Your thoughts on the fight, AJ Dubai? An opportunity for AJ to become the third, a three-time heavyweight champion of the world. But interesting, because I feel like in the lead-up to Daniel's fights, he's never had much respect. And then in this fight, he's got a whole lot of respect.
I think that Hrgovic fight was impressive. Because you hear a lot in the gyms, and you see the Joyce fight, and you see the Usyk fight, and you hear, oh, Daniel's heart's not in it, and this and that, and then he goes and gets hit, keeps coming, produces a performance, and you think, wow, we've now potentially got the real deal. Because we all know he can punch, we all know he's athletic, and that's why it's dangerous. I think Anthony Joshua is the favourite. Of course, we expect him to win, but to be able to do 95,000 tickets is credit to Anthony Joshua, credit to Riyadh Season, credit to British boxing, because that's a phenomenal event, phenomenal, and I'm just excited to be there. Like, look at, as a fan that night, I think even all the promoters are excited to just go, because there's so many great fights. It's going to be a spectacle. Liam Gallagher, who knows if Noel will be there, it's just been mad. And looking forward to it equally with October 12th. So, yeah, I do expect Anthony Joshua to want to put on a statement on September 21st, and what better place to do it.
Firstly, Tyler Denny.
Yeah.
What an opportunity against Hamza Shiraz. I love Tyler. Me and Oscar knew him from, some Hennessy shows on Saturday nights at Coventry Ice Rink a couple of years back.
Yeah.
Always seen him. I think we saw him on the end of a decision. I can't really remember. Was it a draw? I don't really know. But a fighter that's never really had anyone to believe in him. You have believed in him, and he's landed the opportunity of a lifetime against one of His Excellency's favourite fighters. Yeah. No easy feat against Hamza Shiraz. Talk me about this clash.
Well, as you said, it's just to have gone from a small hall, away fighter, fight your way up, always be an underdog, get better and better and better. He's an inspiration to every professional boxer. Never mind, like, people within his profession need to look at how he's operated. If you lose a fight, but you come and give it, and you're entertaining, and you're on time, and you're a dream to work with as a promoter, and you always know you're going to get entertainment, you will get work, you will get opportunities, and most of all, you will improve. And he's done it over and over again. And now we're on this winning streak that's quite phenomenal, going into a huge fight with widely considered one of the best prospects in British boxing. And he's so prepared. He's so well prepared that if he's ever going to do it, he's going to do it on September 21st. He's been in there with River Wilson Bent. He's been there with Brad Ray. The reason I say that, tall middleweights. He's experienced at fighting taller guys. He's ready. And he texted me a few days ago, out the blue, and just let me know he's going to do something special. And he's so confident. And listen, Hamza's phenomenal talent, and I actually, from afar, admire him as well. Great fight. Tyler Denny will walk out in front of 95,000 people, I think, as chief support. It looks that way.
I believe. Sick, isn't it?
Ridiculous.
Yeah, incredible.
Ridiculous. And hopefully now he's prepared. He's going into Matchroom show as an away fighter. He's had those pressure moments now, and he loves fighting. And he's going to give an absolutely best account of himself, and fingers crossed he can do it.
Willie Hutchinson could get under anyone's skin, couldn't he?
Oh, mate, yeah. But Watsy is so calm.
I know, that's what I mean, yeah.
But look,
and so is Craig Richards, by the way.
Yeah. So he's obviously doing something right if that's what he wants to do. I think that's the wrong thing to do to Joshua Buatsi. Anyone that knows Joshua Buatsi knows this kid comes from the streets and loves to fight. You wind him up, which is hard to do. You're going to flick a switch and he's going to come out fighting. And I'm excited to see that side of Buatsi. I'm grateful for Willie Hutchinson to bring that out of him. Sometimes you want Buatsi to get riled up, and he certainly is. And it's a great fight. 12 months ago, you wouldn't have even considered this fight. We wouldn't have considered this fight.
No, you wouldn't.
Interim world title. Willie Hutchinson did a job on Craig Richards. Everyone in boxing talks about Willie as being a phenomenally talented fighter. And it's a big fight, and hopefully Mr. Buatsi can put on a big statement.
Josh's career has sort of been one of a bit of a roller coaster, perhaps. Momentum, then not, then momentum, then not. Nice bit of momentum now. Obviously, had that big London fight against Dan Aziz. and seems like he's in a good place with his career. Is the plan to get this win on the 21st, and then we'll see how the landscape ends up unfolding. Obviously, the immediate thought is with Beterbiev and Bivol, whether we end up seeing a rematch there, who knows? But just to keep that momentum now, I suppose you could say he's in his prime, and get him looking, I suppose, to the fans, that the JB we all expected that came out of the 2016 Olympic crop.
Yeah, I think sometimes as well, like, as much, I think fighters can get unlucky. Like, there is that as well. Sometimes fans don't see, like, he has taken every domestic fight you put out. Obviously, the Anthony Yard fight is the one fight that we thought would happen, that he wanted, that didn't happen. So sometimes it can work like that. But as you said, he's in his prime. He's really ready. He's really focused. This is the moment to go and put a statement in front of His Excellency on a Riyadh Seasons show, on all the broadcasters, obviously on Sky Sports as well. We want him in a big fight next. Even after this is a big one, but we wanted to continue this momentum, and I think he's one of the most talented fighters we have in this country, and so hopefully he can prove that. We've
just seen announced. I tweeted last night. Really liked the fight. Adam Azim against Ahara Davies. OD tweeted 2 days ago that he had no idea of it. Lee and somewhere knocking about, I'm sure, integral in making that happen. Talk me through the 48 hours from OD having no idea. I suppose there would have been some sort of initial plan or talk with Lee or whatever, but...
Yeah, there was talk. But we had to turn it around quickly, because obviously we were expecting to fight Harlem Eubank October the 5th in Brighton.
Okay.
I know you'll ask me about that, but... So we then, when we realised that, that's not going to happen, we need a big night for Adam. This O'Hara Davies fight it's a tough test. A lot of people saying it's a tougher test. A big name in London, huge night, huge fight. Thanks to Golden Boy as well, who helped us get it over the line, and Lee Eaton.
Of course.
And it's a big fight.
All right. On that topic then, why not Harlem Eubank?
We signed the fight for June 15th.
You did?
Yeah, but everyone signed.
Oh, of course, yeah.
For June 15th.
Yeah.
A week after Adam went over on his ankle injury, informed them, had to postpone. And sometimes I appreciate, and I've been in this situation so many times now, it's hard for the fighter that gets injured, but it's really hard for the fighter who's not injured, who's waiting around. And so I get that. So we tried to reschedule it for August 31st. It was going to go on with Wardley Clark. Wardley Clark, obviously, Riyadh Seasons shown big interest in that fight. That ended up going there. Left with a date to go and find. October 5th was the date in Brighton that we felt made up for Adam's injury in the postponement. He changed his management and they wanted to go in a different route. And I'm not going to speak.
Harlem?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not going to speak badly of Harlem because I don't know him, but two, I'm very close to his cousin Chris, and he's in his right to, if he changes his mind or wants to do a different fight, then that's fine. But that left us with a situation where we have to find a big fight, and I'm just, as I say, I think we've done really well to make this fight, and credit to O'Hara as well, because as much as it's a must-win for Adam Azim, it's a must-win for O'Hara Davies.
Yeah, that is a must-win for OD. Adam wins this fight, and then where does he go, if he wins, obviously?
I still want him to box again before the end of the year.
So is there a possibility, sorry to interrupt, that I suppose whatever fight Harlem has, we've just seen that he's signed his extension with Wasserman and Kalla and Nissa Sauerland. Is there a potential that at the end of the year you could re-spark that?
I don't know. I don't know whether Harlem just thought. I don't think he wants. He probably wants a comeback fight or a first fight for his new deal, and then I think he might be going up to welterweight. So I wonder how much that's in his head. Obviously, we're boxing at super lightweight, and so I don't know. I mean, for us, we're focused on Adam Azim, and this test on October 19th is a fucking huge test. It really is. This guy's a 22-year-old. People forget. He's already been European champion. He's 22 years old. Look at his contemporaries. Harlem in his 30s, Dalton in his late 20s. I don't know, but this is a kid. main eventing on Sky Sports. So we'll get through this, hopefully fight again before the end of the year, and we'll see how the land lies. But there's definitely big fights. Your lights just take.
My light's gone off. That's not going? Good. We are still going. It's back on. How long for? I don't know. But we're still rolling. Martin Bacoli.
Yeah.
I've seen something about the Bake-Zhang fight. Could that be next? The lights out
Does
again.
it matter?
Not really. I feel like people are watching at this point. Is Joe still out there? I'm going to see if I can use Joe. Picking this back up, shout out Joe Pugh from IFL, who had another light sitting in a room behind us. I think we were on the topic of Martin Bacoli. I will crop wherever we were. I suppose firstly, on a reflection of the Jared Anderson fight, then a trip to the Democratic Republic of Congo. I wonder if Billy Nelson's the first Scottish man to, or certainly from wherever he lives in Scotland, to have gone there. But that must have been a bit nuts. It looked nuts in the photos, Ben.
He's just a huge star over there. To be fair, he was a huge star before the Jared Anderson fight in the Congo. But obviously this has taken it to another level. And look, you see what Francis Ngannou's done for MMA and in Africa. Martin Bacoli's got the talent and now the platform and the wins to be able to do that. And that's our job now. He'll fight anyone. I hope that the Zhang fight does happen next. But he'll fight anyone.
Potential for that in China?
I've seen that from His Excellency and whatnot. But look, Martin Bacoli will fight on Timbuktu. He doesn't really care. He's going to get the job done. And that's what all he's about. But our job now is to try and use this momentum to create a star.
Ade Oladipo posted that he would like to see Joshua versus Bacoli in Africa.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's stuff that
we have been in talks with the Congo a lot about Martin Bacoli, about doing a fight there. Obviously, it's the 50th year of Rumble in the Jungle. But
that
I think
would be a logistical.
Everyone's been trying it for a long time. It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. And there's all sorts of there's a lot, but it will happen eventually because the interest in boxing in Africa is huge. The infrastructure is getting better. The broadcasters are getting better. There will start to be shows. It's just not quite there yet, I don't think. But there will be shows, and Africa's a big area of focus for boxing. I think it has to be. Look at all the fighters that are coming out. Just
out of curiosity, this is me being curious. What are conversations with the Congo like? How did that even start?
So Martin's good friends with the president.
Right. So have you spoke to the president directly?
One of our team has been put in with his team. Martin's very close with president and has been for a while, and his brother Makabu.
Yes, of course, yeah.
So they're like royalty.
And they fought. Makabu's fought over there, right?
Martin's from a big family of like boxing. It's a real big, like, his brother-in-law's a boxer, his brother's a boxer. Like, they're all boxing people. And so it's fascinating to see. But yeah, they're very close to the president. The president, he goes home and sees him every time after he fights. Martin's very proud to come from the Congo. They are at war at the moment, which he wants to raise awareness to on the border there, and he's very passionate about it, and they love him. He's a national hero. You've seen the streets and you've seen what happens when he goes over there, and the dream is for Martin to be able to fight there. It's just a lot of things that have to be put in place to be able to do it. But they did it 50 years ago, so fuck me.
Yeah, I know, it's mad that, when you think hindsight and you think maybe some of the situations now with governments and stuff like that and how they were able to do it all the way back then. Crazy, right?
To do it. Don King, I think it was.
Yeah, which if there was a man to do it, probably would be Don King.
I just think God knows how we got that done. Yeah. Incredible, though.
One day we see boxer in the DR Congo.
It would be amazing.
We'd all be a bit nervous. Let's be real.
No, I think they know how to treat. Just a lot of security, a lot of Look, they're ready to. They want to do it. I think they've got an election coming up this year. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
We're now talking Congolese politics.
I think there's an election coming up. There's wars going on. There's all sorts. So we'll see. We'll see. We are in talks with a couple of other neighbouring countries, I will say. So there are some options over on the continent.
I could actually sit here and just ask you about dealing with African governments and politics. But
we're going to get there. It's like the longest process, but we're going to get there.
Maybe one for a special episode. We can just do Ben Shalom's takes on negotiating fights in Africa.
I know a lot about African politics now.
Well, that I will quiz you on another time. Lastly, from me, the October 12 card announced. Firstly, before I ask you about your input on the undercard, the main event. Great fight. How does it go? I've always lent towards Beterbiev, but I feel like I don't want to say inactivity because we know he fought Callum Smith in January, but it seems like he's having a lot of injuries. We know he's 39. Dmitry Bivol's just got that mad, erratic style. What do you think?
I think what you said, if Beterbiev is still the same Beterbiev that has been in the ring with Callum Smith, and obviously previously, I think he is the favourite. He's such a beast. He's just, but as you said, you hear a lot of injuries, and there's some bad injuries, and keeping him out a while. And I know it was touch and go whether he'd definitely be okay for this day. If that's anything to go by, then it evens it up even further. But it is a 50-50 fight, and it's just a great fight. And credit to Riyadh Season for getting it done, because it's one of those fights that in normal circumstances is very hard to make, because it's not like they're the massive profiles. They're not massive pay-per-view stars.
We wouldn't see this fight without Riyadh Season, I think it's fair to say.
Too much economics. It's a really hard fight to make sense.
Yeah, it's almost like what region do we sell this in?
Yeah, and why for the fighters, unless it's massive money, and it's like, well, what does it generate? They've got it done, and it's a big fight for boxing.
Fraser Clark, Fabio Wardley rematch.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
I think it's in Fraser's hands. I think it's his to lose this time. He's had the experience. I think that was what maybe got him the draw the draw was probably caused by a little first time. I thought he did really well, by the way. To do that in his 8th fight is fucking phenomenal. The 12 rounds and this and that and the war. But he'll have learned a lot and actually probably grown in even more confidence, and I think he's going to be really ready for this one, and I hope he's going to put on a big statement. I believe he will. I know he's working incredibly hard, but what a fight. And to have that on an undercard is just ridiculous.
The winner can almost surpass that. I look at, I suppose, AJ against White when they fought for the British title, and you almost felt like that fight was higher than British level. You get that vibe in this fight, right? What does the winner go on to do? Are we talking we're talking fringe world level then, right?
I think the interest in the fight is sometimes you don't have to have a world level fight. This is a prime case of, this is a British title that has the interest of a much higher level fight. This just caught the imagination of the public. That first fight was ridiculous, and the numbers it did and everything, and both of them have now a huge opportunity. Where it leaves them, for me, Fraser's still got a development to do, 100%. He's still going to be within 10 fights. I think he breaks a record if he becomes British champion as the fastest heavyweight ever to become British champion. Don't, again, check that, but I think he does. But I would like to see a homecoming for him. I'd like to see him fight in Burton. I'd like to see some big domestic fights happen. Look, let's see. I think there's still development to happen.
Eubank Jr., am I right in saying that, I'm going to play devil's advocate for you here, Ben? He's had a lot of shit for the opponent he's fighting. Am I right, and I won't say who told this to me, but that there were world champions that were offered the fight that asked for silly money?
Yeah, so this is the thing with Eubank, right? As much as he wants a lot of money, when anyone fights him, they want huge amounts of money. So, because it's like they think that's their cash out. I'm not saying it's on a Canelo level, but it's the same. When anyone fights Canelo, they want a career high payday that's way above, and on the next level down. That's what it's like for Eubank Jr. So it's not always as simple as people make out. Me personally, a year out the ring, at 34 years old, I'd like to make sure he has a fight that gets him back. Seremeta is a top quality opponent that I think is being I think is being disrespected. It's not the big name. It's not the world title, but it's a guy that's only ever lost to Munguia and Golovkin. I think it's a good fight back. And then we get to see the big fights, and I'm just delighted to have him in the ring. And all the talking points and all the amount of chat about Eubank Jr. around this card, it just shows how big he is as a star, and that's why we signed him. And yeah, he's in a good place.
2 more quick ones. What do you make of the public saying that Simon Jordan's line of questioning is different with you as opposed to Frank and Eddie?
I think he's had that public Eddie Hearn versus Simon Jordan, and that was a big thing, wasn't it? They did big numbers, and they were at each other. So I know there's history there. So
it
it's
also
definitely
seems to be becoming a little bit nicer as
correct.
well.
And I saw the last one. I thought it was incredibly soft.
Yeah.
So things go in and out. It depends. But those two are at each other. I think Simon and Frank are very good friends. So I don't think it's any.
I think that relationship's changed. Certainly from a media perspective, it used to be very friendly. It seems a little bit more. I would say Simon's more investigative as such, more interrogative. I would say he's not as such with you.
Look, I think there's no secret that I get on with Simon, and I get on with a lot of people, but different relationships, as you said, take different things. Who knows in 2 months whether it's the same. Eddie and Simon are at each other now. They seem to be friends, and you've just said maybe that's changed. So it's just normal life, really.
Lastly, what are your working relationships like with Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn as of right now? They seem to be quite open to it, but I suppose everyone has to be open to it under the same.
Listen, I want to be. I really do. It's just I accept it, and I know with the little shit that might have at the start they didn't want to develop, or they didn't want to grow, or they didn't want to, and I get that. It's business. I do get it. I'm hoping now they can see the stable we got, they can see the fights we're putting on, they can see everything, and we're established, and we can make fights now together and accept each other, and I hope that happens. And I really, really am thankful for Riyadh season for making fights between us that otherwise would be harder to make. And whether we have to be best friends or not doesn't really matter, as long as the fights get made. That's really what fans want. And so Riyadh season are making that happen, and we'll just focus on building the biggest stable we can, the best stable we can, and making the fights. And as I say, Riyadh season are making it happen at the moment.
Ben Shalom, thank you very much for
Cheers,
speaking
brother.
to us at the Stomping Ground.
Thank you.